Just please make sure you're comfortable and you relax your body. And also along with the relaxed state of body, so it would be also wonderful if you also have a very relaxed and peaceful and clear state of mind. So as much as our body is relaxed and we physically we are at rest, and so as if our mind is also fully relaxed, and in another word, if you are mentally feel really relaxed and peaceful, and then this gives us as a person, as a really a total sense of peace and tranquilities. So to achieve that kind of total sense of peace, tranquility, and happiness, we do need some sort of idea, some sort of knowledge. It is not something that we can experience or achieve it whenever we want to. So therefore, we need to think, or we need to gain some knowledge about how to achieving this. So we can look, or to understand our situations, or our reality from the perspective of how we, as a person, we are constituted of what we call as our body, and also we have a mind, and then ourselves. So just think of these three. Think that ourself, mind, and the body, and then think of the what kind of the relationship this or the link that these three entities or three phenomena should have. And this so-called, which we identified as some phenomena which identify we as ourself, and where we feel this sense of belonging, sense of I. So the question of whether this I is happy or not, peaceful or not, so it's really to large extent is depending on the well-being of our mind and the body. And for example, when our body is enjoys a very good health, and sometimes we are able to say, I feel good.
리데 세대이기 때문에 되네 마포를 대하세 다 서서 랭게 되는 거. 만족감아 마포를 해야 사는 그 대한 되겠지. 야분 되. 내가 문제가 나 지에 살처럼 뛰는 롱 내가 대한 되. 중앙 문제가 있어서 진짜게 그거 말이야. 진짜 손 들려도나 나도 걔네래 리 대보제 소소 랭게 켜보지 레인데 세 대보제 소소 랭게 켜보지 레인데 야 세대 리대야나 막 걸어 찍고 있는 거이다 손 되게 많이 동보다 이제 나도 손 들려 이제 손 대도 그려
so basically, so in our core wish is to is to find happiness, whether we in terms of whether happiness whether we are speaking in terms of our physical health or in terms of our mental health. So and this is where, and it is really for this reason, or is in pursuit of this happiness. So we are in whole life, throughout our life we are undertaking doing some various activities, and indeed, and that is the very important activity, and we do have that kind of the responsibilities for that, and so because we have to, it is there is a reality that how when we look at this our eye, the reality of the eye, then whether within us, then there is one reality that it has this the natural, this eye has a natural desire, natural wish to wish for happiness and wish for something which is positive, something very wholesome, and whereas it has a natural desire that that eye has it never wish for any unhappiness, for any suffering, for something, anything which is negative. So there is this there, which is very much that wish is naturally very much innate in this reality, in the eye, in the sense of this eye. So so therefore it is natural that, so therefore we not only we have that wish for happiness and not wishing for suffering, but also we have to realize that we have this we have the responsibilities to how to fulfill that our innate wish.
That's all. Today is that today not calling there's the art and there's the mother. And there's the other leave the other saying that you might be your mother. Is that now? Monday, you are the thing, leave you are saying to my new lady. Telling anyone is only up to
and then as to the kind of the happiness that we which we deep down we all seek, and whereas the suffering or unhappiness that we always trying to avoid. So when we look into that further, then it really comes down to either to the on two levels, on our physical level and or on a mental level.
That's something. That today is that I was on the top. There's a listening. There are Jimmy, Matthews are called intimate, just in you could just never call you over, just do some death over head.
And then we got to think about thinking of how to achieve that. So there's this happiness on the mental or on the physical level, and then when you think of of achieving that, to achieving happiness or avoiding sufferings, then there is we have to realize or recognize the fact that these both achieving is depending on the causes and conditions. So therefore, we have to think, focus on recognizing the exact causes and conditions for bringing happiness and removing sufferings.
네. 다들 손은 대들 다 나도 이제 다 맞아 시사 맞아 레라오나 셰나 맞아 지라 리가 내 특제 레지드 개좀 쉬워져래 라 리가 특제 라 리스쇼 리가 특제 리데 특제 리가 수쇼 세데 특제 세데 근데 세스피가 특제 다 드니스 드리지 때문에 다들 인도하대.
So therefore, as we check, as we investigate, then we can recognize how there are certain causes and conditions which are favorable. Which brings about what we want, such as the if you talk in terms of the physical health, like good health of our body, then there are certain favorable conditions, and so these conditions. So therefore, we have to recognize that these condition how important is to create. To those conditions, and as well as so we have to have some. It also becomes important for us to maintain or to protect the health, the good health of our body, for instance. So similarly, this also applied when we look at our well-being of our mind or mind. Then again, there are certain conditions which are favorable to enhance the the sound well-being of the mind, and also the we have to important for us to cultivate some sort of sense of responsibility of the protecting or safeguarding the sound health of our mind.
다 something. 다 something 대도. 다 something 대도를 만든 게래. 다 리가 특제다. 시라 실로는 용거. 시 특제 용거 리가 특제 용거. 대만은 뭐 약을 해요. 얘네 리가 특제대 시 실로 특제가 되는 용어도 만들 뭐 약을 싶지 않아요. 다 뒤에 다 만드는데 네가 남자지 제가 제래 제가 너지 되니 리데 특제죠 만들 그냥 소용이 봐. 라 리 특제 가래 다 사지가 뒤지가 아래 다 늘어나던데 그거야 소소 얘는 내서 젠 딩거지 지지를 아저야 타제지 용어도 봐 리데 특제 야 타제 용어야 돼.
So it is called apparent to us that how as we perceive a certain conditions which especially when we talk of the good conditions for the health of our body. So it's more to do with the related to the certain external conditions. So it's very apparent how we recognize those conditions and which we have a actually correctly understand those conditions, and so accordingly, in order to meet those conditions, we do work in our life and also do undertake various sorts of activities, and we're talking about. In terms of the good physical condition, we're talking about in terms of the gathering, the the fact, condition for like, to buying food, clothes, and drinks and so forth. And so accordingly, so as we do correctly recognize those causes and condition, and also we make and put an effort, and accordingly we are also quite successful in terms of gathering, securing all those conditions which are favorable, which favor for the to ensuring a good health in our life.
네, 시 특제 야분 조용이야. 네, 특제 누바 디가 이 맛이 봐지는 거. 특제 누바디 이 맛이 봐지에 특제 디 셀 내야 돼. 그러니까 그거 뭐지? 이런 거야. 그래서 쇼진이 특제 진 조거를 어제 퇴직통에 랑 퇴직통에 되네도 사진선 대선호 내가 세대를 내기 리지 용도 같아 먼저 예수상이 되대 퇴직진도 어디 그 집에 퇴직통 되래라 되네 다 되네 다 제네 링 세대를 내 요이서 좀 되도 거 그러니까 퇴직이 다 특제 조를 당긴다고 특제 조를 다 누군데 써서 나죠. 45배 용과. 나 사전 퇴직 가지 사이즈만 줘 사람은 강화 써서 나다 마셔 뭐야. 내일 써서 나잖아. 참 너 세시시로 동시 사시 너 이게는 대번에 쉽지 시 특제 가면 전화요. 다들 되게 이 맞아야 되는 일은 생기가 내가 요즘까지 가면 되게 인간의 저를 성분해야 해야 돼.
So even though we may be successful in terms of achieving all the good material conditions for our life, and the conditions which are very it is supposed to be enhance a good health, and also to bring more happiness on the material or on the external on the physical levels. So however there is obviously that no matter how even though we can be very successful in that, however, it's not always necessary that we are happy with that, or necessary that we resolve all our problem even on a physical levels. So we would there are still we experience a lot of unhappiness and misery even on that physical levels. So now if we look into the causes of that, then of course obviously we cannot blame the cause that we in our failure in gathering those conditions, but they are there. But then the causes are, like for example, that we feel is one of the main one such cause can be the lack of contentment, and how like when we lack a contentment or the satisfaction with whatever we possess, and then the regardless of how much you gather materially, how much physical wealth you gather, somehow you are mentally you can be still very hungry for wealth. You can be still very unhappy, very dissatisfied with that. So therefore there is no all those conditions that you gather with very hard work actually doesn't give that kind of satisfaction. So rather it can be further cause of dissatisfactions, and so therefore it will also, as a result of that, so may also even the cause one to live even to work harder, or to even want drive one to even to be in the more busy life, and so likewise, as well as there are a lot of cases where instead of the all these conditions which are supposed to bring, enhance our good well-being, good health, but rather, how sometimes we misuse those, such as like, we spend a lot of money on certain, food and drinks, and then however, by partaking those one, then the outcome is it destroying damaging our health, and that can be also another, cause of problem. How from those the material conditions, rather than it increase, bringing more happiness, and so therefore, when we consider this, instead of this, however, if we think of all those good conditions, necessary, the good material conditions that we have achieved, and see that as something that how trying to able to content our mind, even mentally content ourselves in those, and to even to say to ourselves, now to be a bit more positive about that, that you have enough of all that your needs for your life. And the moment we say that, mentally we say that to ourselves, with the sense of real, true sense of contentment and the satisfaction and the sense of kind of appreciations of whatever we got, and moment we do that, and then it kind of relaxes our mind and bring some sort of sense of satisfaction and happiness. So, in fact, when you one of the very important practice which was implemented by, if by the monastic order of even in Christianity, like the monks and nuns, and similarly we will also notice in the Buddhist traditions of the monks and nuns. So where one very important practice is this, what we call as the practice of less desire and contentment. So therefore, this is something that as we just mentioned just before, that's something that we need to also apply this practice, and also become very important for our lay practitioners to implement this practice. So time to time, it also make us wonder, when you see some person in the world who we look at in the they are externally, and how well off they are, and how they've got everything they have, and yet, when we see them really are sufferings, and they undergoing a lot of problem in their life, and sometimes we do wonder why is that happening. No. So sometimes we're wondering why they still lack this happiness within their mind.
제 특제 무슨 수바 들으시네. 얘네들 나 중국 세점 먼저 다 이제 배자 세점 먼저 특제 견도 새 마대 맞지 용거야. 나세 가지 선도 나도 면도 선도 내가 선도도 새 만대 되는 거 용어 알아야겠다. 새한테 맞아 되는 용어 알아야겠다.
So like externally, so these, those that person, may seems to have everything that most average people can be, dream about in terms of their wealth. They may have a lot of, shops, and there are a lot of abundance of money, and everything's there. And yet they, when you have a closer understanding of that person, then but inwardly that person, mentally have absolutely no happiness. There's no peace. There's and so therefore if we ask ourselves, or we investigate why now, what is cause for why that this person, mentally and inwardly there's no sense of satisfaction, no sense of happiness, then it is very obvious, because we will find that inwardly that person's lack the control of the mind, or the mind is completely out of, in other words, completely out of the control.
That's one thing. They carry them other their habits and other be some called sentry movies. Sentry again, mother said, damn, so under what they put over it. Let how what you know? Called sentry movie. Sentry is that they only should go in one, but then some tono under their house on hot.
So in plain language, so we will notice that as we get closer to that person, then we'll notice that the mentally, so that person have a lot of worries in their mind, and a lot of stresses and so forth. So therefore, it will be very obvious, very evident to us that how, when somebody is mentally, they are filled with so many worries and the stresses, then they cannot, that person cannot be happy.
That's sometimes. That tell me that me tell me say mandava te to you are ke te sena keep panjo tela teni ra kon red shake sa mo shalo is some message like roll panjo te yong jan tela teni teni tela teta chado ji roll member not to be and tell them, I judge you are. Keep banjo, she, banjo to follow call a second thing, how to see them, guess it in magic in Mala Chesed, look, the name there, but she boy on that. Keep banjo tea to the general, guess it in manner, all she boy. 반저 대에서는 제가 찾아오 고마다를 찾아면 거기 보이는 거래. 반저 제가 되는 맞아면 거기 보이는 거래. 선도다. 생도 맞아 봐셔 들리 좋아. 반저 걸어도 소소다. 맞아 예무시 이거 자기에 들어가고 하자. 다 돼. 이거 생도 맞아 봐셔 들리. 생도 저는 다 거기 보이는 거라. 다 선택하나 공부하자. So if we examine now the causes of all this the worries and the stresses that a person has in his mind, then we will notice that we can also see that how the person, the cause is because perhaps the person is feel that there's a lot of sense of worrying. The person is worrying because he's not
able to, not as rich as some other people, or so there's a sense of wanting to compete, the competitiveness, so which can be another cause, or especially you the thinking of all your competitors, and those who are normally equal in your wealth, so you want to compete with them, and that can be cause of the worries. Or you feel to thinking of those other who are wealthier than the person, then you feel jealous of that. But it's something that arises, but they can't do anything about. But it can really brings misery in their life. Or they may also have a lot of pride, take a pride in that, and out of that they can be can easily abuse or undermine other people, other who are less well off than themselves, and as a result of that, then they can experience unhappiness. So therefore, when you look at this situation, so therefore we can see that how, in a way, that the wealth that person have gathered, which instead of happiness, but for that person has become that it's turned out as a source of suffering and source of misery. So it's and so which all, if we check, and it's more to do with the all related to the person's mind, mental attitudes, and it is the attitudes which the where persons is not being able to discipline, able to controlling their mind, and that they fall under the mind mentally falling under the influence of various these negative way of thinkings, and so therefore, however, if you could imagine, if you could imagine such person, if they do not have all this negative state of mind in their head, inside them, that they have no, they never feel like this, that they have to compete with other, or they're feeling jealous, and so if they don't have none of this negative state of mind, then we can say that they can really, that person can really find sense of peace and happiness.
That thing on the that said Mandara Manusia to me. Tandacia, said the trouble on the mother on the mother knew that same. Said the apple that on she pointed the jet of Madama, mother, mother, how was it? And they said, I send the God, Sam Manda Michelle, send the way, said, God never to be shooting anyone. Send him on the Bundoy, mother king, your letter. Thought much wicked, so day. Mother send him on the tone, Medea said, Sam Medea, Sam Medea, she pointed sign in pen to make the lady. Tandacia, no, did it. She touched the average Zoe, no say within down, never there, no say. They touched the last one. You wonder. Is that? No say, touched the carriage a lot, send him on to the no saying they touched the last, so I tell them, Jack, my son, tell not. Tandacia, no young at the send the education which would be playing the art.
So from these discussions, so we can understand that the benefit of being subduing our mind, and whereas on the other hand we can understand that what kind of shortcomings that will fall in our life if we lack control over our mind, and over our emotions. So just as if we look at this the situation of that where a person who is materially well off but who's undergoing a lot of sufferings. So when you look in that situation, so all the suffering the person going through, is all related to is all to do with the shortcomings of not because of not controlling or not subduing their mind, and so when we do not do anything to looking after our mind, or to in terms of overcoming the negative thought and the emotions. When we do not do that, then our mind might be completely overpowered by the various what we call as the afflictive emotions, such as we mentioned earlier. So when the mind is under that under the power of the mental afflictions, various mental afflictions, then there is, as we can see, then no matter what all the condition, good condition, one may have or found externally, one have found achieve in one's life, but one cannot be at peace and be happy, and so therefore here we can see that we were just before we were saying that what are the suitable conditions inner or achieving the happiness on the mental level. Of course, is very essential, is very important, in sense that without that, and how we cannot find, we cannot say to ourselves that we are at peace and happy, and so in terms of that, when we think about the conditions, then so we have to overcome if we have mentally or inwardly, if our mind is overpowered or under the power of such mental afflictions, then we do not have that. We cannot be inwardly, we cannot be happy, and as if that we have no inwardly there's no suitable. We are the suitable condition for our happiness is almost like a missing. So that's what is in the case of somebody who's well off and who's unhappy. So whereas if we are inwardly, we have the ability to somehow to maintain a peace in our mind, and to keep our mind have a less under the less influence of such the disturbing thought. Then there is a sense of as we externally or materially, when we do well, so then it is possible that, and then it will all the external the good condition can become rather can add more the happiness in our life, and rather than they can be turning out as the source of further sufferings.
Mala Chese Mujan, Nessica, third pass on the Tony, that minute, so said, Pardon, Matona, so that they are so Monte. Monte, you get it? Ah, Rungi said, then dressing on the Matona, so they are about Monte, so that said that, Majin the Matona, Halazo, so said they are. Country on the mind said there, but the leave that motor in the war. Dying on the Melpatia. Melpatia said, also saw the sequel. Then, Troning with that mother said, Big Taja Apotheton, said the other kind of the building. The new Yamu on the Mantuma, and there said they needed him some do so. That's on common.
So just as we can observe the experience of some other persons and how and so in this way now it's very important that we relate this to our own self, as a individual self, and then to recognize. It's important to recognize that how when we talk of the peace and happiness within our mind, then we have to work. We have to ensure that in order to have that, so we have to ensure that there is no we overcome, or there's no any such an influence of such the mental afflictions, such as in the form of strong desirous attachments, or we have to think of because without that, when we have a strong desirous attachment, it can be a suffering, cause of sufferings. But when without that as a cause of peace and happiness within our mind, so important to recognize that. And similarly, we can think of the understand these when we talk of the mental peace and happiness. So in terms of it is an issue of whether we have such other mental afflictions such as angers, the jealousies, or we may have a pride, and also this is always a thought of negative attitudes towards other in terms of belittling or abusing them. And so all these attitudes, of looking down on others. So how when we have these, and this can disturbs, this kind of mental affliction can disturb our the state of peace and happiness within us. And whereas we if we do not have that, and and to see that as a really the cause or the conditions for enhancing peace and happiness within our mind.
만도 온차데 되는지 근로나 되는지 쇼서 만도 뭐도 쉬고도 뭐도와 굉장히 상보가 근로나 쉬고야 가도는 쉬고야 다 대선도 알레 이제는 다 대제 감가다 세 만들 센더스야데 세는 영웅원도 마도와제 마도와제는 세야 건줄라이테지 레도와 다이다 고문에와 되니래 되니고 봐 녀바선에 되니 고도 자오래 갈래 되지 슈슈슈슈르니 나 슈슈르니 되니 소소 내사 봐 쳇지 슈슈르노래 내사는 가게 봐 슈르노래 소소 세게 예대야야래 얘네는 다 저러서 Nyamo Kondiwa, Nyamo Shu, Kalema Chu Chundra, and then say the Aliajino Tajada, Nyamo Kaleva, Shu Chen Road, same thing Dalton, and the Lord. That's how I need that, God, I tell you that. Never think to talk about Java.
So so it is on the base of all this, the thing that we just been discussing. So on base of all this, so we can we have to understand the point, of practicing or applying meditations, in our life, and so which is to we practice meditations. To really to overcome the influence of the afflictive, state of mind on our mind, on our thoughts and emotions, and because, as we were just saying before, how if we do not overcome that, then we will be empowering these mental afflictions to rule our mind, and then we lose all our the self-control, and also then how as long as we are under the rule of these mental afflictions, and there is no way for one to feel free, to enjoy, to feel free and find happiness. So therefore it's important therefore to understand that really the key purpose of the meditation is to train our mind, so that and through this training, so we trying to reduce the control or reduce the influence of negative state of mind or this mental affliction on our mind, and rather we bring our mind more under our own control, and so therefore it is that with this kind of the purpose in our mind, and if we engage in meditation practice, and where we train our mind, or then training in the sense that we're trying to getting our mind used to to abide in a given object, and rather than always falling under the influence of these afflictive emotion, afflictive state of mind. So with this purpose in our meditation, and then we will find that as we do more meditation, and then we can see slowly we will be able to break that the habit of our mind to always falling under the influence of these mental afflictions, and as this happens, as we begin to see this kind of achieve this result in our meditation, then slowly we can notice that the mental affliction have a less and less to do with our influence on our mind, and then which means that we will find more the increase of more peace and more happiness, and the insight into the within our mind.
Rola Pama, so near Hotel Shibuji, engaged Lord Diego, Lord Diego, so never in the Kangala, and the Lord Hello. 시대는 소화지 때도 들리 맞아 네바된 뭐든 네바된 때에 아상처를 들리는 단어를
So when we also, when we talk of our own potentials, so really our main potential is lying within our mind. So like we say, how through achieving some state of within our mind, state of peace, happiness, and clarity within our mind, and through overcoming all these the mental afflictions. Then when we bring that, then how as a result of that, not only we would find more peace and happiness ourselves, and as well as this has have at the same impact of bringing peace and happiness in the minds of those who are close to one, and who one interact in one's life, and how you bring this kind of peace and happiness in the minds of other people as well, and so this is something we can, as a human being, so we can see here that how through transforming our mind, how we can enhance, bring this experience of peace and happiness within ourselves, which we feel ourselves, and then we are able to bring that out, reach that, share that to all the around us. So and so on a each day on a everyday basis, we have to recognize the importance of maintaining this peace and happiness in our mind. Think of the importance of each day. You think of the maintaining the happiness and peace and happiness on the mental levels, and that is important, and because, as we're saying, how we want at all the time, on every single days, we want to be to have a mind, the kind of mind which associate with us, which accompanied, which possess within us to be something very want to be something peaceful and happy one.
Kenny Apposiona, Mother, Tende, Cardinal, Apos, Tende, that's a some gonna get to Michelle Tadi to Mama to share the say Apos says so much, live chatters so much stuff, Kate, what you telling you are. You saw them dead, they have to dirt on their mother tell. Mother tell that they are they drink it, said Savo. 새 좀보 새 시험보 거든 잡을 때는 런 잡을 때는 치라 쳐봐지지 아 대나 내가 새 손 도와서 배고 말에 링 매주 잡고 링 매주 잡게다 링 타다 야버지 공주아 링 채대 야버지 그래 아 다른 거세 르스지테 링 채대세 르스지테 그뭐 대차대 수선 대니 매니저를 야고야 돼 좀 대도
So the if we think of the important, the most important factors in order for us to achieve whatever we want to achieve in our life, or just as a human beings, if we in order to achieve our desire goals, then it's the two most important factors are to do with our well-being of our health of our mind and our bodies. And so with the mind, health of the mind, we're talking about we want to ensure that we have a state of mind which is peaceful, which is clear thinkings, and which is stable, and then also have some sort of good sense of discriminations, like a bit of knowledge, intelligent knowledge. So we it's important to have that, and then of course on top of that, so we may also, in order to it may also be necessary for us to even have to physically have to do some work, do something in order to achieve our desire goals. So therefore, it becomes physical also become very health become also very essential, very important for us to achieve the purpose of our life, and so we have to. That's why we have to responsibility, and we have to look after our good health, and so therefore we can see these two are very essential, good enjoying a good sound health of mind and body are very, very essential in terms of not only in terms of our day-to-day experience, so as well as in terms of achieving our desired goals of life.
완전 만 먹으면 완전 야분 카시 다 라시 당만도 거태 자 건 녹은 지야 되게 뭐자라 미바지 그거 레스 거세도 가르세가 레스 거자라 롱이 세다라 근데 원리 루버지라고 레스 세 건지 햄빌 돈이 나야다 제부터는 내만한 지원 당하고 그때 때마다 뭐 잡는 세 건지 정도 되네. 되게 내가 한번 영화 시행해 가지고 합의를 시행하면 돼요. 백 합의를 시행하면 그 합의 생기시라면 돼요. 얘네인데. 더 큰 거기 취재 백 합의 생기네. 아선 되잖아. 되게 로셔더라. 내서는 그 합의 얘기니다. 백 합의는 어디? 그 합의는 되니까 뭐 내가 다 해야겠다. 세대로 건지 숨어서 나가니라. 손도쇼 숨어서 나. 만도 가봐 너나 손도 좀 넣어도 세진 권 넣어도 세진 권은 넣어야 세가 손도 피때니 돼 만들어서 펜지 먹지 요거는 더니 이제 맨처럼 손도 와. 근데 얘다 세 숨어 관제 좀뭐 연나 손도 좀뭐 지워 손비 최소 좀뭐 지워 손비 최소 강시 관제 좀뭐 대거 says the gentleman, Kama Mongos, and Sevilla. Kama say, Mate, Kama head with his said, Shede Papa got net of it, can then do it. Ah, go down there, said a condition like Teres, said the room Teres, said the leadership Teres, said never the Teres, not an equation was.
So time is flying, so so we will do some meditation first, and our theme of this topic is supposed to be cultivating loving kindness, and so however we will find that if we cultivate the loving kindness, then all these just the various destructive and the negative states of mind, states of mind, the emotions that we have just been talking here. So all this can be overcome or can be removed by cultivating this loving kindness for other beings. And so now, just to give a bit of thought on the before we practice meditations, engage in meditation practice. So just give a thought that what is the meditation practice? So meditation practice is to familiarize our mind to the virtuous or a positive way of thinking. So it is the practice where we trying to break all the negative habits of our mind, pattern of habits within our mind, and trying to cultivate or build a positive habit in our minds. So this is something on a mental level to building the positive habit and the getting rid of negative habit is something that we normally in the outside we don't learn, we don't talk about much. Even in our childhood we don't talk much. But this is something that we meditation is all about. And then, as you know, in the meditation practice, so there's always the objects. We will introduce what depends on the type of meditation. There's objects. So where in the duration of the meditation, so where we have to ensure that our mental attention is fully on those objects. So therefore just to add more on the benefit of meditation practice, so which is to cultivate and develop more positive way of thinking, or the positive outlooks of mental outlooks within us. And so this is something that we want to, as we were just saying before, wherever we go, there's our mind is always accompanies, is always with us there. So therefore, however, so in this way, if the mind that which is accompanied with us, if it's has a very positive mental outlook, and then we be ensure that there's a happiness, there's a peace, and we will be more, even if we face certain hardship, but with a positive mental outlook, so there's a more we would have more like a endurance or the resilience to be able to cope with those situations, and also with a stable and a peaceful mind, then it's also able to more makes easier for us to overcome the difficulties or obstacles in life. So therefore, it's how important, we can also see in essentially lots of, when we look at the causes and condition of life, then we can relate that a lot of ups and downs in our lives. So it's all primarily really related to the ups and downs of our, rather our state of mind related to that. So therefore, what it indicates is that if we achieve a very stable state of mind, and then that means that naturally then there will be less ups and downs in our mind, in our life. So, so therefore, we just keeping all this in mind. So we will do this meditation. So we will do just the breathing meditations. So the now and the whenever we engage in meditation practice, so there's a certain it is important to ensure first to fully relax our body, and also the if you can, it is said that we should also establish the a right frame of mind, or the right or motivations to begin the meditation with.
That's something. That colonna, you says that I'm over here, then so that the chat day on the door now. Near Pama ceremony, Rania Pama is sent it. There are tons of them. Duma tons of them, wrong sham, you locked up. Each and boy, they are. Shamba 이제 그거는 거자 다 되지. 내가는 커버래. 그래, 성포도. 근데 저기 코로 맞아. 이런 거를 막고 거는 성 뒤통 때지 지고 되나. 사실 좀 싫어해. 생자도 야 컨셉 되나. 영화를 나르셔. 는 또 잡으셔. 또 코로라 봐 재미주니. 근데 that's how they have a shooting. That's how they want to young one. Sister, the color team on the top, natural tell you have a prayer. Some the other sign in Matuache. Send you to the there, tortured them. Mission, do not tell the dog is on, but that's it. Look, color changes in there, the dead. So, no, there.
So we hear that we should cultivate the motivation of like a bodhicitta mind, and also can find various other instruction with relating to motivations. So, so here, so if the motivation it will be good to just to think of your motivations to engage in this meditation. So is to eliminate the sufferings, all kind of sufferings or unhappiness of all other beings. So think of your motivation is to free or eliminate the suffering of all beings, including like one's friends, whether they are one's friends or one's the enemies or they are strangers. So think of the eliminating that, and also to cause or to bring happiness and joy for all the beings of the all other beings, and so you trying to in this way trying to as part of the motivations cultivating motivation, so you cultivate this loving kindness for all beings, all other sentient beings, to really just genuinely this thought producing this thought which genuinely wish all beings to be free of sufferings and all kind of any form of suffering, and but to have the happiness, all the types of happiness, and then at the same time to cultivate thought that not only you wish, but you cultivate thought that saying that I will cause them to eliminate all sufferings and to achieve all the happiness. So so just trying to as much as possible to direct one's attention to cultivating this loving kindness for all beings, and then to really to cultivating this and to remaining in this state of this loving kindness and this your genuine wish that that may I be a cause of removing suffering of all living beings and placing them into the state of everlasting happiness. So just even to remaining in that kind of thought is also very peaceful and for the mind. And so we do that. You should do that for a little while, and which is also part of motivation. And then we move on to the breathing meditation practice. So we will find that even just the spend some time in as part of this the cultivating the motivations that cultivating this the loving kindness for all beings, that which is to really to from the bottom of your heart to just to wishing them to have happiness and to be free from sufferings, and also wishing that may I be a cause of removing suffering and establishing all being in happiness. So so remaining in that kind of meditation even itself is very, you'll find it very effective in terms of immediately calming one's mind and of all these any distracting thought. And not only that kind of it is itself is a very the beneficial and a very effective meditation by even though you do this, include this as part of setting your mind, setting your motivation. But in fact, it becomes a very important meditations, which has an immediate benefit in terms of calming one's mind and really instilling peace and joy and happiness within us. And as well as this kind of meditation also have a tremendous effect in one's mind, in such that even in one's in a normal life, this meditation could have the effect of this being very sensitive to the needs of other beings, in terms of this always thinking of their what they wish, which is their happiness and joy and happiness, and what they're trying to avoid, which is sufferings, and so in this way, there is this such meditation. If you do it more, then would that in a normal life, then this one can have this feeling of love and compassion, then can possible to arise more almost like a instinctive level, that when you see other beings, it's just the feeling arise within one. And so therefore, if you have in that kind of mental attitude of this love and compassion, if we always express to others, then obviously then there will be means that we will have a more friends, and rather other being turning as more or they're going to be more less like people who hate, or one or less enemies for in one's life. So anyway, we would in here. So you can continue with this meditation on the loving kindness, or you can move on to the breathing meditation, where you simply focus on the inhaling and exhaling. So we begin the meditation now. Okay. Time is finished for the session.
11:35.
Yeah.
Maybe we could do question and answer if anyone has a question.
Gemma, will there ever be peace in the world? There seems to be so much violence and suffering and hate, and little children being hurt, and people starving and hungry, and homeless, big refugee camps. Will that ever change? Will there be a time of kindness and loving kindness?
근데 저불이 나라 가봤다와 이나 지 강에 당들으시다 레샤스로아 아직 지금 이 마수 땅에 당담이 지금 사회 통해 강에 당들에 가와이나 레샤스 저불이 나들이 유아 조시르스 강에 매워차 미소 지기 잠종제야 당다 시대 지금 레 누구로서
전화는 그래서 제 철로 주셔야 사유제에서 대만도 온자를 전부 운전시를 려하지. 이제 철로 뭐라 온자야 말이야. 근데 사유 문자는 문자야 말이야. 라 뭐제제 참 맞아야 온자니까 뭐 제도다. 라 담매 녀다 정은 매 세도라. 담한 성 대도.
theoretically, we have to say if all the human-created problems, should be you should be able to solve that by human. But however, when we talk of some other problems, in a world like which is related to like more like a natural disasters, like an earthquake or flood, and all these things happening, which we have a very little, control. But when we, if it's something created by, caused by problem which is suffering which is caused by human, then it is, we can say it is possible to change, bring a change in the world. Of course, on the larger scale, to solve certain problems, then it much depends on the leaders. Much depends on them, how what's in their mind. So, on a larger scale, so if we want to bring change, positive change in the world, like world peace, and to achieve peace and have and the security, then you want a world, the leaders who have very like a broad-minded, who are not just simply thinking of their own, on the regional level or their own country, So the so if you have a broader level, then you could consider that, and then they be otherwise. If the leader is very narrowed, usually when it's very narrow, and this is where they always they'll be focusing on their own self-interest, and as a result of that, sometimes then it causes disputes with other, and then the a war can happen, and then, as we all know, when something when you have some disputes with the neighbors or other country, like for example some more powerful country, and then they the exploiting or even abusing us in a more weaker country. But at the end, then it will also affect them, the powerful country. Like for example, in case of Geshe say he's not really doesn't know much, but like in the USA, they hear that as a result of their declaration of war on the Iraq. So actually, it has caused a lot of damage to economically to the USA, and so there is no win, and no. So of course, right from the beginning, if the leaders see that if you harm some other country, it's going to also harm your own country. So they're not going to do that. They all want to protect their own interests, but because they didn't see that, and then at the end, then it's too late.
엄마는 거기 셀 나자 대용 같은데 서서히 제 내가 뭘 지는 거야. 그래서 내내 들리 뭐 들리 와서 셀 나자라자. 그래서 다 서서히 내가 그랬더니 다 건 내가 다 제다 내가 있으니 뭐가 산다.
Sometimes we have a leader who have some sort of hold some sort of begrudge or resentment towards some other other leader, and so therefore then as soon as they got that positions, and then they use their power, misuse their power to attack the other leaders or other country, and these are all very obviously is very wrong.
다 먼저 서서 연구들 봐 전부도 이렇게 주무셔야 되는 메타가 서서로 되면은 원부에 걸어 봐 연구 서서라 뭐 펜서 봐 정보도 깨지시리 달라 먼저 개주무셔야 먼저 터지지 제지들에 미 파다는 먼저 정말 제대로 가있습니다. 파다는 서서다 서서 권 내가 권이나 봐 되거든요. 이제
but of course on the practical level, then the like if for peace and happiness is creating peace and happiness is doing something to wherever you are living. Like for example, if you are living in this area, like in Warrnambool, so we have to focus on how to cultivate that, work on that, in terms of, the improving the bringing people together, more create more like a friendly society and more, more communication with each others. And so in this way, you can create this peace and some happiness here, and that is something very important. And it's not going to sometimes we cannot do much. When you look out and there's a problem out there. And if you just simply, focus on that, it doesn't help there much. But rather, if you focus on your wherever you're living, and then to create, focus on developing better the friendliness and so forth, harmony in there, and that might be, in that way you are contributing to the peace. So of course we have to continue to work on resolving the conflict, and that is the main source of the problems. Whether we talk in terms of even in a family or just with your own another persons. So when there is conflict arise, then this can then destroy your friendship with that persons, and so therefore the people, we have to work on changing our mental attitudes. In like it's particularly when you live in a free societies where essentially everyone has a lot of freedom to thinking and to do whatever you want to, but however, if in that society, if everybody's become very narrow-minded, and then they all sided to a very small group, and then you forget about the the other group, and then if that kind of attitude, then you can't develop the more harmony in that whole area, because everyone's thinking of their own little group. You know, it is of course the there's not much opportunity when you in a certain country where people have no such freedom. You know, they just have been completely under the power of the, you know, the countries. And it's also important when we're talking about, you know, sometimes when there are a lot of the bad things happening in the world, you know, and people start to worry. It's natural that we all worry about that, you know, concern about that, but also we cannot always be thinking on that problem, you know, and sometimes if you keep thinking of that, we can also then get the effect of, in terms of getting, you know, depressed and feel bad. So it's important that at the same time to not always thinking on the negative or the bad things happening, but also have to, there are also positive things. Susan, drugs.
Drugs, I'm going to.
No. So there's one student by name Doug in Adelaide. So he used to he said to Geshe, his mom is one of those who worrying about all the problem in the world, and it becomes she gets mentally gets so what's it called addicted, you know, to that, compulsively thinking of all the problems. And then at the end, you know, it was become a great concern for the dog to how to help her to overcome that. So you could have that. So we, of course, we have to show concern towards all the bad thing happening, but we don't end up like, you know, we actually you know, feel like taking all the problem upon ourselves and then put ourselves into that same situations.
Brother, he all come Friday come in, then Saturday, Sunday, Monday back all come. Very nice man, Loki very good. One man there, one man secretary, Adelaide. And he asked him, maybe Geshe, you see my mother? I say yes. I say that day, mother in the morning very happy. Oh, nothing. Why? Your mother this morning very, very happy. Oh, dress, new dress. I say she was quite very happy. The dog said, well, 12 years ago, mother truly happy, never before said that, very happy. I live afraid. She said, Geshe what? Say, Geshe what? Remember, quality song to the one was, you know, Jing Alson, the song to the was with the this song to the was with Sandup.
Geshe visited her at the hospital, and perhaps, you know, it was a very nice surprise, and somehow it help her to kind of switch off all her usual, you know, neurotic mind or whatever, and she was very happy that day, and she actually wore a, you know, special clothes, and then she actually asked her son whether he wanted to know what, you know, because probably she didn't hear everything Geshe said, you know, what Geshe said to me, and very excited. So how the the trick is that because probably at that moment she switched off her normal mind, very neurotic mind, and it's just because of that, and which as a because of that, then she able to have a different experience, maybe different kind of state of mind or thought arise. So as I think we said it in the yesterday talk, and sometimes the question of whether how to overcoming certain problem in our mind is a matter of just switching our mind off to something else, or in literally forgetting something, forgetting about that the thought, and we think of occupying our mind on something else. It could be that easy, that simple,
I say very easy. I know meditation. I am good. Very good. Meditation are very good. Some people not eat, not enough eat, not enough clothes, enough. That's how you do meditation. Little bit, not really cut, difficult, no cut, no. Meditation good to that, not really cut, very easy, just thinking, cut. What you thinking, unhappy kind of day, cut, easy. Very easy.
Just
very hungry. You could do meditation, benefit, meditation, very hungry the day, Well, there, let just thinking that you sit up there, not there, one.
So just give it's just a different way of looking. In one way of looking, we will see that they actually overcoming certain material or physical problem can be even harder. For example, if somebody's got a difficulty of meeting the needs of their life, there's like a food or clothes, whatever, and to solve that problem, sometimes it's not easy. It's not that straightforward, right? And meditation, if you ask that person to meditate, it's not going to be solve that problem. They have to do something and hard work. Whereas when you look at the problem which is related to mind, on different way of looking, it is much easier. It is in our hand, and we can see it. On one different way of looking, it's much easier to overcome than the external material problems.
That's on the south song to
It's just a matter of it all depends on your way of looking. In one way of looking, you got a problem, and you change that way of looking to a different way of looking, and it's gone. That's all it is. That's it. Yeah.
Very easy.
Yeah.
Often, very easy.
Yeah.
Well, family don't do even head lonely. Very easy to come. No. Very easy. You just come here. Oh, family. Family, you know. I say, anger coming, anger coming is much better. I say, careful, Geshe Doga, careful, anger coming, I say, much better, anger no good, much better. Really, here coming, no good, careful, you say, careful, your name, you careful. 나 뒤치다 저런 내 거기서 야부셔를 강화해야 돼. 저런 강한 만세가지 거기 야부셔니 당연히 거기서 대시해야 돼. 나는 머리 이제 가보나 정말 넣어서 대처로서 전례를 인터넷 생물 저로 전례를 일단 저로 완전 보지 다 야부셔를 뒤치었어요.
So that's the end of the teaching, and Geshe-la's extend his tips. Thank you for all of you for coming, attending, and particularly for the group who organized these teachings, and which is really very well organized and wonderful. And he understand that being such a small group is not that easy. There's a lot of things involved into actually to make this thing happens, and so he really want to appreciate that and thank you, and there's a good number of attendants here, and if any people here have some gain some benefit from these teachings, and really the main cause, the main credit really goes to this local group. So you have made this happens, and so Geshe just happy and wish to the group to keep going as it is now, and being close to each other, supportive and friendly to each other.
Just one moment, please. We would like to sincerely thank you, Geshe. Maybe we get some things together, but we think it is because of your very sincere motivation and the usefulness of your teachings that we can see, we're stubborn, but little by little we're getting a little bit better, and we say that thanks to you and the way that you make your teachings so useful to us to live a better life, and a life with more loving kindness to others.
그래서 냠len 시라 투구 민도서 상로벳 착다 쳐너와 이나 게란데 숭조낭 젠데 식들에 방고지 펜 도보시다 중앙에 실럽들에 시다 중송스 아니 되게 닝타본 투지체스. Yeah.
And also, Sandup.
No, don't say. Everything is interdependent, isn't it? Yeah,
You may
thank
not
you.
think you're important, but without you, not so good, I think.
Yeah,
So,
thank you. Thank you, my pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And